everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. So today is a very important, special video. It's going to be all about how to move out when you're 18 or 17, 19, 20, whatever, moving out at a young age or just moving out in general. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about how I moved out at such a young age. If you didn't already know, I moved out when I was just turning 19. So I think I moved out December and I turned 19 in November. So technically not 18, but I just did it for the clickbait. It was like my life goal as a kid. Like, I'm gonna move out at 18, gonna move out, and I went through some shit. I was super wild and really crazy, and I was just like on some bullshit and wanted to move out at 18 so bad. But actually once I hit 18, I kind of got my shit together. I got kicked out of my senior year. I got kicked out of my senior year 2 months before I was supposed to graduate. So once that happened, I kind of just woke up and realized, you know, shit has got to change. So I did homeschooling for a little bit, and yeah, when my plan to move out when I was 18 was move in with my friend's house in this nasty, bad area. Her father was like a gang member, and it was just like a really bad situation, but good thing I grew up and realized that's really not what I want to do with my life. So yeah, and excuse the mess in the background. I took so long to take this video because, as you guys know, I'm moving to Miami, so me and my assistant have just been working like crazy, getting everything together. Thank God I have him, because without him, I would be very stressed. I already am stressed, but I'd be 10 times more stressful. It just honestly depends on how you manage your stress. There's just a lot that comes and goes into it, especially I feel like after your first move. I feel like it gets harder and harder because you just have more that you're carrying and like more, not baggage, but just more to do. You know, like when you're moving your first time, you don't have anything, but then like it's all new to you, and it could be a little frustrating then. But today I'm gonna give you some tips on how to make that go a little smoother and just move out at a young age. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then I'm going to answer some questions. So yeah, I moved out at 19. I had one of my good friends help me with the move, help me pack, get everything together. We actually went on a road trip around the world, and I have a YouTube video. It's called Road Trip Around the World or Country or something, and we did a road trip, and that's honestly what I suggest doing, because a lot of people ask, like, you know, how did you figure out that's where you wanted to move? So I went on a road trip. I went to California, we went to Hollywood, Venice Beach, like everything. I went to Colorado, I went to Vegas, of course. I went to, we didn't go to Florida. We just went around like the West Coast. So driving through Illinois, all the way across, all those states, Arizona, pretty much everything, and then made our way back to Illinois. But I absolutely love Vegas. Vegas it just pulled my heartstrings. I just loved the weather. It was just, you know, it's super cheap to live here. A lot of people think that it's really expensive. I did too. I thought it was super expensive to live here, but it's honestly really cheap. Last year I had a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom for I think $1,200. And utilities not included. As far as electricity and water and all of that, you have to pay that on your, not water, water's included, thank God. But yeah, so it's really cheap to live here, so you know, I just absolutely loved it. So going on a road trip, and road trips don't cost that much. I mean, if you have a cooler with food and you have money for gas, especially if you have a car that is really good with gas, then I mean, you're set. Because I had a Hyundai Sonata 2006, I believe, and I think gas only costed like $200 to $300 for back and forth. So round trip, it only costed that much. So it's not that much at all going on a road trip and just exploring and finding out where you want to move. And I suggest planning everything out. So I'm a huge planner. I love to plan. I love to make sure everything's in line. So I had my notebook and I made sure that first of all, we were stopping at all the cheap gas stations. So a really good app for that is called Gas Buddy. And I use that app every time I go on road trips or every time I want to save gas. And if you type in where you want to go, or where you are, and then from where you want to go, then it gives you a list of all the gas stations on your road trip where you want to go or whatever. So you could stop at those gas stations, and then there's like GPS, so you could use their GPS, and then it'll tell you to stop and get gas if you need it. So definitely using that, because gas can get pretty expensive, especially if you're just traveling blindsided, not knowing, you know, the gas stations, especially like towards the cities. It's going to be more expensive, so having that app really helps. So yeah, gas is really cheap, or gas, and then you have your food, and we just slept in my car. So I mean, if you really want to do it, then it's all about sacrifice. So if you really want to do it, then you're gonna have to sacrifice some things, not sleeping in a bed. They're really cheap, so we got lucky with some of them, and then we just slept in my car, and we just put back the seats and then just slept in the car, and then woke up, and you know, we were just peeing outside. We made sure we had toilet paper with us, hand sanitizer, and all of that with us, of course. And it was just a really fun experience, and I would totally do it again, just sleep in my car. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So I really wanted to move. It was my goal to move. So to do that, I needed to look around, and so I scheduled it. I scheduled all of the appointments to look at the apartment complexes. So all you have to do is, usually what I do is just Google like wherever I want to move. So like high rise in so-and-so city, you do that. Getting a realtor is really easy. For a lot of high rises, if you're thinking about moving in a high rise, you're gonna need a realtor, but it's just super easy. You just type in realtors in Las Vegas. Realtors are free, by the way, which is super surprising. I didn't know that. Realtors are free. So all you have to do, because they get paid from the apartment complex, but usually if it's just a regular apartment, like a 2, 3, 4 story apartment, then you could just go to the front desk and you could just do a walk-in. But just to be safe, I would schedule the appointments just to make sure that you're not just sitting around and doing nothing. My first apartment, we just it was funny because we just missed a turn, and then we just started driving, and we're like, fuck it, let's just start driving. And we saw the sign, and it said apartments showing, come today, da da da. So we just walked in, looked at the apartments, and I absolutely loved it. It was so cheap. I just fell in love. And yeah, so making sure you're organized, scheduling everything, that's huge. Much easier than booking a plane ticket, having to get a hotel, flying around. Like, that is hard, but just going on a road trip, that is your key to find out where you want to live. So that's what I did. And so my plan, I'm going to show you my notebook, what I did, because I wanted to move out more than anything. That was my huge goal. That was my main goal. So I realized, you know, you have that plan in your head, or you have that dream in your head, you make a plan, and then you do the plan. So I'm going to show you guys what I did. I talked about this a little bit on my Instagram, but I'm going to show you guys in depth of my notebook that I did. So here is the table of contents. So I had everything listed out. So moving to Hawaii, saving money, spending page, personal spending page, that was from my friend, food spending, gas spending. So I'm going to show you the pages on what I did exactly. So here's what I did, budgeting per 7 months, and I just wrote down the gym, insurance, food, protein, pretty much everything that I would be spending on one page, and I put it out per 7 months. I don't know why I did 7 months. Okay, the 7 months was actually just me saving up for 7 months. It's either 6 to 12 months, so I guess I just didn't know. But yeah, that's pretty much all I did, and I just figured out how much money I would be spending every month, how much I would need to be making, and to save up the money to move to Vegas. My goal was $4,000, around $4,000. So I was working 2 jobs at the time, a grocery store job and a warehouse job, and I was busting my ass every single day, and months and months and months went by. I think it was like maybe like 6 months, and I had no money saved up. And at this time, this was when I first started getting into fitness. I was still working out every single day. I wasn't eating that good, but I mean, I was still working out. I was still seeing progress. I was still eating more than I was before, so I was building muscle. I was having more protein than I was consuming before. And yeah, so I just realized I'm not making any money from these jobs. So and at the time I was slowly starting to get into my workout guides, but just with working 13, 14-hour days with 2 jobs, like 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, I had no time to focus on what I was doing. I would wake up, go to work, come back home, sleep for an hour, go to the gym, eat food, go to bed, do it all over again. So I had no time. So I quit those jobs to focus on my dream. I ended up saving the money. I forgot how fast I saved the money, $4,000. I was on my way to Vegas, and I remember, I think we were in Colorado. We were driving in Colorado, and my business just blew up, and I made $20,000 in a day. And I was moving to Vegas to become a personal trainer, and I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna stick to online training. So that's what I did, and I've been doing it ever since. And now I have been slowly going into making a clothing line. You guys know I have my clothing line, Mad Essentials, and I'm just trying to expand it and get more into that and really grow it. It's my passion. MG Fitness is my business, but Mad Essentials branches off into the clothing line. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and it is just such a passion, and I just love the internet and social media, and I love how we could just connect to people all over the world just with a phone, just with internet access. That's all you need, and you could just connect to girls all over the world, and it's just an amazing thing. So anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much my story on how I did it. I made a plan, saved up the money, and $4,000 would have been enough. That would have gave me enough for first month's, last month's. I didn't have to give a security deposit because my credit is really good, and then I had enough money for just like food and just random stuff that I wanted. So that was my plan, that was my goal. I did it, and now I'm gonna answer some questions. What did your family think about it? So my parents they've always been super supportive, which I'm super blessed at that, because I know some parents, you know, they're really against the kind of stuff that we want to do as far as like social media, being an influencer, and just like all of that type of stuff. I don't even like to call myself an influencer, but just building your career off of social media. But they were super supportive. Like, they were always badgering me to get a job. Like, Madison, come on, get a job. I would do anything or like buy something or whatever, and they'd be like, Madison, like, where are you getting your money from? You need to get a job, you need to get a job, every day hounding me to get a job. And it was just like really disheartening, because I wanted to do more, and I knew that there was more that I had to offer than working at a fast food restaurant or warehouse job, grocery store, whatever. Like, I knew that I could do more, so I didn't want to get it. But I just eventually had to come to terms that, you know, you have to have a regular job, you have to save up some money, build it up slowly, and just trust the process. As far as moving out, they were kind of unsure. Every time I would bring it up, they'd be like, oh, well, you know, you're gonna have a bunch of bills, and you're not gonna have, what if you don't have enough for rent, and what if you get evicted, and da 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 da, and this bill, that bill, car insurance, and renter's insurance, and just like all this stuff. But they were just being parents, they were just warning me. But once I came up with a plan, and once I told them, you know, that I love the apartment and I'm gonna apply for it, and I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and this, and I told them my plan, then they were like, okay, yeah, like, we support you, we're excited. But, you know, they were very sad when I left. They cried, like, well, my mom cried. My dad did a little bit too, like, I think even like a week before I was moving, and then the day of, like, they were just, or the night before, because we left like super early in the morning. But they were really upset that I was leaving. But I mean, I needed to fly away. I needed to be a butterfly and grow, and they understood that. I needed to get out of my small little town and just flutter and flourish on my own. And yeah, so pretty much for the most part, they accepted it. So here's just a question in general: were you able to get a place without credit? And if not, how did you build the credit? So I have a good credit, and at the time I had a good credit, and it was just because my parents were helping me build it up. They put a credit card under my name, a gas credit card, and they were paying it every single month. I think it was like 7 something, and yeah, so I did have good credit. But you don't necessarily need a credit. No credit is better than bad credit. So if you have no credit, don't worry. You could get some places without having a credit. You could just talk to them, just be personal, and just be real with them. And it's really easy to build up your credit. A huge tip that I have is just apply for a credit card and just use a little bit of it here and there. So like, get gas, and then when it's time to pay it off right away, and pay a little bit more than you should, spend a little bit, pay a little bit more. Now, I made the mistake by getting a credit card right when I could because I had good credit, and I spent it all instantly. This was before I started making money. I got approved for $1,000 at Best Buy. I spent that shit instantly to get a camera and a laptop because I needed a camera. I wanted to make YouTube videos, and I needed a computer to make my workout guides and to edit. So spent it all instantly, and that destroyed my credit. So I've been slowly building it back up. But yes, as far as the credit, like I said, it's not super important if you don't have one. If you have bad credit, it might be harder. You might have to give like an extra security deposit, or just talk to them and or hope that they don't check it at all. But honestly, it just depends on the apartment complex or wherever you're moving. Were you scared when you moved by yourself for the first time? Honestly, not at all. I was so excited, and I was so thrilled to get out of my town. I mean, I had a little bit of anxiety, you know, as far as meeting new people and making new friends and starting a new job, because keep in mind, I wanted to become a personal trainer when I moved out here. So and I knew that would be easy for me just because with how much I love fitness, how much I know about it, and I feel like I'm a pretty personable person. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't scared, I was excited. It's just something about starting new excites me. I love a fresh start. Is it as expensive as you'd expect it to be? If you're good with your finances, if you are keeping track of how much you're spending, how much you're making, if you either are doing it yourself or you hire somebody to do it, whatever, as long as you're keeping track of how much you're spending, then it's not that expensive. You need to be mindful of it, you need to keep track of it. I hardly remember anything, so I write everything down, and you just keep track of it. So it's not that expensive if you don't make it expensive. If you don't get your nails done every single week or month, or you know, if you're buying clothes online all the time, or if you're going out to eat all the time, like that stuff adds up. So you just have to be careful with what you're spending. Before I moved, I didn't spend a single dollar. I had my finances out, how much I was spending on gas, how much I was spending personal stuff, and I'm talking personal, like tampons and deodorant and shampoo and toothpaste. Like that was what I was spending my money on. Food every week. I did not go over the budget. I budgeted it up. Budgeted the hell out of everything. So no, it's not that expensive if you are good with spending money and saving money. So yeah, this budgeting book, I actually just realized budgeting per 7 months. It was actually saving up for 7 months so I could be able to move out. So this was 7 months before, so it says in November, so I actually moved out in 8 months of me saving. So it took me 8 months to save $4,588, I think. But I didn't start making money until I quit my jobs and I focused on my business and my workout guides. So yeah, and the income that I showed my apartment complex when I first moved out, that was from my workout guides. So strictly just my workout guides. I showed them how much I was making, and I think it was just through PayPal at the time. That's all I was accepting through my website. So it was just PayPal payments, and that's all that I showed them. And I just want to bring up something real quick. First and foremost, my parents don't pay for anything. They never gave me any money. All they gave me was their support and their love. Second, I don't have any sugar daddies. I don't have any guy anywhere giving me money. I pay for everything myself. I'm an independent, strong-ass woman doing everything on my own. A lot of people think that people are paying for my stuff and all I do is just post my ass and I get money for it. Instagram pays me for nothing. I worked hard to shape my body and to gain the muscle that I have, and instead of going out and partying and drinking every weekend or sitting on Instagram every single night and just scrolling through and doing nothing, no, I'm doing emails. I am working on my taxes. I am investing and working on my business, myself, working on expanding. I am studying to become smarter as a person, as a personal trainer. I am investing into my business and always creating more. I'm dealing with the manufacturers, managing my Instagram accounts, 3 Instagram accounts at that. I am working every single day, all day on my business. And on top of that, trying to take care of myself. So it's a lot. I do a lot. I'm a hard worker. To all the people who make those comments about how I get my money from other people or I just don't do anything all day, don't say anything until you know facts, but you know nothing. And I'm mainly talking about those gross ass guys, creepy ass guys who comment and come in my DMs and say stuff. I'm an independent boss ass bitch. I'm not one to get money from anybody ever. I barely like asking people for favors. So before you start blabbing your mouth, take a step back and sit and realize, do I even know this person? No, I don't. You know nothing. You just know what you think you see and what you want to see and what you think is being portrayed. Not me, honey. I make my own. Anyway. Okay guys, so that's all of the questions that I'm going to answer. Hopefully it helped you. Hopefully I taught you a little bit more about Vegas, about how to move out, about money management and saving and finances and just getting established. Literally, long story short, it's all about having a goal in mind, setting a plan, and following through with that plan, because anybody can do it. My Instagram wasn't even that big when I started. A lot of people think like they need to build up their Instagram to have a successful business. You could have 4,000 followers and have 500 people out of those 4,000 followers be consistent buyers or consistent clients, and you could be successful off of that. You don't need a huge following. A huge following on Instagram doesn't mean you're making a lot of money, unless they're like getting ads and promotions and doing stuff like that. But yeah, most of the time it doesn't mean that they have a huge amount of money and a successful business. So following doesn't matter. Just save up your money and keep your goal in mind and don't stop until you get there. You're gonna have to give up a lot, going out to eat, hanging out with your friends, and you'll start to realize those friends that you have, they're not even real friends and they don't even matter. And most likely they're toxic to your life and they're just bringing negativity and bringing you down, and it's just an endless cycle. So for me, I had to get rid of the toxic people. I had to sacrifice a lot to get where I'm at, and but it's just so rewarding. I promise you, you won't regret it. You won't regret giving up those things that honestly don't even matter in the long run. All that matters in the long run is your happiness and your goals and what you want to do in life. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to follow me on all my other social medias because I post there every single day, and I hope to catch you in my next video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.